Ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, this is a big victory for the Russian Federation, which has just proceeded to a spectacular entry into the very heart of Donbass. The last barrier, Donetsk has fallen, Provs has fallen, and what amazes the world today, that's the description. I mean, the description of the triumphant return of the Russian army in this extremely strategic city, which is called Proverbs. This description, which is given by one media, Western's the most credible media outlet British, known as Sky News. Description: the way this medium has had to describe the triumphant return, resounding, stunning Russian army in the Pokrovsk, it is this way of describing it that has surprised the world. And besides, it's a first for a media outlet of such a size at that level. A Western media may officially recognize an extremely symbolic Russian breakthrough and extremely significant in terms military and in terms of NATO losses and Ukraine on the field of war. But it's a first. How did Sky News get described the return of Russian forces to Pokrovsk? First, I need to remind you, Pokrovsk, it was the last lock in the Donetsk province, and it must be said that Pokrovsk, the fact that Pokrovsk fell, everything else in Donbass has ended. So, Sky News describes the images of the start of the school year Russians are Pokrovant. Images worthy of a film, the Mad Max film Furiosa. I don't know if you've seen this film. Here is a film that made its mark, World of Ruins, where you see people here comes crossing. He said, it's an apocalyptic film. You see their face, you feel that these people drink red water. I'll put it that way. The British themselves say that the return of the Russians, that's when they came back as if they were in Mad Max Furiosa. So, this is a media observation. It has to be said. Share this with me first. Maximum Conference. Share it. This is a media observation. This is the British channel Sky News confirmed that the forces Russians entered Pokrovsk, the key city of Donbass. And according to the report, the media outlet is talking about apocalyptic images. Russian armored vehicles. Russian armored vehicles that cross a ruined setting. That is to say, the background, everything beside it. It is the Republic says, it is determined to go all the way to their final victory champion. We will always continue to support our President, Sir Robert T. CSR. We are here to support him. That it didn't start today, and it's not going well. It's better today. We will go all the way. That's settled. Already won, so we will put our fight to the end. This remobilization of activists and supporters of the Citizens Party at service of the Republic will to continue, and the young President Robert counts on everyone for the victory of the party in the elections come. Bitcoin reflects the scale of the destruction and the loss of control of the narrative. What Ukraine and NATO were saying, they can no longer say the same thing. Now, even their own media agree with the Russian narrative. That is to say, the Russia no longer has a narrative. The observation is palpable on the ground. Images Earth satellites show how the streets have entered. Just yesterday, Ukrainian army officials tried to deny the encirclement almost all of Pokrovsk. They denied it. They said it's not true. And yesterday we said that it wasn't. It was just something like Well, it was something. It was just penetration. It was just for a few hours or a few days. And finally, after a few hours, the soldiers, Russians, penetrated the heart of the tomb. So, it must be said that when London compares the Russian army in Mad Max in that film, the important thing we also is that she no longer the presence of Russia in the heart of Donbass. She now fears Russia's presence in the Donbass. So, Prosk. Hey, Prosk. That's the strategic heart of it. Donbass in Donetsk. So, this is a key position because Pokrovsk controls the railway lines towards Kramatorsk and Sloviansk. Yesterday, we have not ceased to remind him of this. Kramatorsk and Sloviansk are key cities. These are also other fields. And so for transport, the logistics in these two territories, we have to go through Pokrovsk. If Pokrovsk fell, it was that the other two are cut and the Donbass falls completely under the control of the Russia. And so it must be said that this is the last obstacle before central Donbass. This is a very major Russian offensive, since, according to several reports, the Russia has concentrated its brigades, motorized vehicles, and its kamikaze drones in this sector to reinforce the breach. Yesterday we saw Russia deploy thousands of soldiers. So that's the last lock. It must therefore be said that the entire Donbass has not yet fallen. But given that for fell the Russia, central Donbass will fall very soon because it was the last blockade. So here is obviously what has just happened past. It is no longer Russia that is speaking. This is no longer the Russian Ministry of Defense that provides information, but these are the British media themselves who are giving the information and to describe the scene as being an apocalyptic scene. So much so that the striking force of the Russia on this battlefield was of a magnitude, a power that makes fear. Here's what just happened during this time. In the air, there's talk. We don't no longer knows where the negotiations stand. Stuck in the mud, no prospect of negotiations. Zelensky continues to negotiate, stubborn. He continues to be supported by volunteers, the countries, the coalition of volunteers, and ultimately, everything is stagnant. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the one. I'll get back to you in a bit with new news.